expanding the story that we're increasing our footprint. We're applying to get that drill permit to cover that new Cambaya zone. And what that does is not only incorporate the new zone, it allows us to add more drill pads, more drill holes, up to 200 additional holes to what we currently have. So this is huge for us. It really shows that we're going after it in an aggressive nature. We realize the importance of this new Cambaya zone, and we're going to attack it really hard in the new year.
The Financial Survival Network. Now more than ever. The Financial Survival Network.
And welcome. I'm Kerry Lutz, your host of Financial Survival Network. I'm here today with Peter Dembicki, President, CEO of sponsor Tier 1 Silver, to get an update on the latest developments. We've had some news recently. Peter, just briefly fill us in on the latest, the latest sampling and the latest drill results. Danny.
Very good to see you as always. Of course. Love the opportunity to tell the story. So, the project is really coming together nicely. From the standpoint of a week or so ago, we announced that we encountered this incredible width and grade of trench from a zone called the Cambaya zone, which is north of where we're drilling currently at the moment. And, so our latest news release late last week was just expanding the story that we're increasing our footprint. We're applying to get that drill permit to cover that new Cambaya zone. And what that does is not only incorporate the new zone, it allows us to add more drill pads, more drill holes, up to 200 additional holes to what we currently have. So this is huge for us. It really shows that we're going after it in an aggressive nature. We realize the importance of this new Cambaya zone, and we're going to attack it really hard in the new year. And of course, mid-December, we're faced with the rainy season down there. So we have to pause our drilling for a certain amount of time up until the beginning of March. But this really gives us the time to interpret all the data that's come in over the fall and late summer and early winter, pause, take a look at Cambaya zone, see how we're going to attack our Curibaya main zone and Cambaya zone at the same time. So it's going to be really a doubling up our efforts and just being ultra aggressive on this property because we think it deserves it.
And you still got a lot of drill results pending from what you've been doing throughout the summer and fall.
Yeah, we do. They're pending. We're waiting. It's an incredibly frustrating process getting them back from the labs. I think we mentioned before there was the crazy reason was a COVID related reason. I mean, the government commandeered all the oxygen in the country to help, obviously, with people that need it most, and obviously. People suffering from COVID needed a lot more than drill assay lab results. So, frustrating from an operations, but honestly, that's what much more important in the grand scheme of things. And so, I think they're going to start picking back up. We're going to start getting results trickling back in. We are currently drilling right now under some very high grade trenching. The next hole coming up, which we should start in a few days, is going to be right under the diatreme complex. And this is really one that is a geologist's dream, given the magnitude of all the mineralization, all the possibilities that could be under there. It really seems like it's the focal point to Curibaya, and the story evolves around that. Now, we've made some comments in the recent last week and a half or so on what we're seeing out of our latest drill bits, at least on the core. And every single hole, 5 more than 4, 6 more than 5, 7 more than 6, they're getting better and better as our thesis is proved out. We're drilling right underneath high grade channel sampling results that we have. And Dave Smithson on the ground is really liking what he's seeing.
Yeah, and Dave mentioned that you're basically adapting your strategy in real time. As you get the data back, that dictates where the drill goes.
Yeah, it sure does. And, this is the part where, we stay clear of Dave. We got to give him his space. The guy has horse blinders on. He is totally ingrained with Curibaya. He is immersed in all the data and the landscape and the geology. He is 100% in. He's living, breathing, eating Curibaya. So, give Dave his space to do the targeting, to find out what comes next. We have more data coming in from satellite imagery that we got a couple months ago that is really helping him determine the mineralization, where it's occurring, how it's relating to these trenches that we've done so far, and where we're going to go after that. And it is a really defined targeting process, considering how grand and big the scale is on our project.
Okay, financially, we have enough money in the till to finance all this, right?
Yeah, we do. And so right now, sitting at $7.5 million in the treasury, we're good through to Q2 next year. So nothing pressing for us to hit any financing. The macro environment is sure helping. And I'm sure a lot of your other clients and your viewers alone have noticed that. And it sure provides a nice feeling to have a little bit of tailwind just at your back, just to help push the sector along, because we went through a tough drought. Even the moment we listed our company back in June, silver was $28, and it's been nothing but going down since then. And so I think a little reboot, a little refresh in the price of silver is kind of lifting everything, and it feels really good. So now the incoming calls are nonstop in regards to where we are financially and the progress that we're making. Which is nice to be on the other end of those calls as well. So we're in a really good position for our shareholders, for our planning, and this is going to allow us some time to really focus on the next stage of drilling that'll come in March.
Yeah, and having the name Tier 1 Silver, when you see silver go below $22 and your stomach is, you're getting this feeling in the pit of your stomach, but very short-lived. We're heading towards $25 silver, probably up higher because we're in the seasonally strong part of the year, Q4. Historically, metals prices go up then, maybe not quite as early in Q4 as they are now, but generally this is the trend for many, many years. Really important to realize that you've got other projects. I wanted to touch base with you on Hurricane to get the latest developments there, see where we're headed.
So Hurricane, again, this is one that we've been working on a long time to get into the company. Michael Hendrickson, Dave Smithson, both formerly of Newmont, acquired it from a private group called Pembroke, and a fellow by the name of Dan Innes, who was also formerly of Newmont. So a lot of the work that he had done on the property beforehand was very complementary to what Dave and Michael do already. So a lot of confidence into the technical work that had been done on the property. The moment we got access to that, we sent two of our best geologists up into Hurricane to start looking at some of the historical finds that they found, proving them out, and they think it's real. They think there is something pretty great to look at. So again, those trenches, those samples are all in the lab. I believe we have 17 pending trenches just from Hurricane alone. So as that data comes out, and we continue to work with the communities in the area, we want to build this out to be drill ready, within 12 months kind of period. And wouldn't that be a spectacular show if we had Curibaya going full steam with a couple rigs and then bringing on Hurricane as well. So you said it, having a name like Tier 1 puts us, sets the table for us to really execute. And I believe that'll show the world that we are a dominant silver explorer in South America.
Okay. And you had some pretty substantial finds there on the Magdalena prospect. I mean, I'm looking, 1,175 grams per ton, 792 grams per ton of silver. It sounds like a repeat of Curibaya.
It sure does. I mean, when the high grade continues to come back, and not only over short widths, but over long widths as well, economic widths, when you're looking at something bigger in the future, it really shows us that there's something to go after here. So it sure seems like it's Curibaya maybe a year ago where we were at with getting some of these preliminary results coming in. Let's expand this. Let's see where we can take this thing and to bring it into the portfolio in a proper way.
Yeah, amazing that there could be these kind of grades of silver in Peru, of all places. Huge silver producer, just going unknown, undiscovered for until now.
That's it. That's Peru, right? And it is such a vastly unexplored country, but so mineral rich. And I'm going to go back and use my Rick Rule comment on this one, and he says, 1 in every 5,000 discoveries, not companies, but discoveries ever makes it to be a mine. And what do you have to do to reduce the risks when you're investing in it? Or, hey, when you're CEO of one of these companies, well, you have to invest in people, have these people done it before. Again, the story behind our group, Ivan and Sean and Michael and Dave, they have done it multiple times before. And 2 is you have to go off the beaten path to find that world-class discovery. So you have to go to a country that has been, for the most part, unexplored and looked over. And Peru fits this perfectly. We had a bit of a political scare back in June when the elections were coming up. Again, that's really smoothed out very nicely in our favor. The president and his economic minister were recently in Washington, D.C. and New York trying to coax the world into bringing money back. He separated himself from the extremist party that got him into that seat. He's realized that Congress has, not a lot to do with any of his extremist language that he used back when he was campaigning. So his power is very limited, but he is a voice for the people. He is a voice for the rural communities where a lot of our projects reside. So that's important. So I'm not going to go out and say that he's just a puppet, because he does have a seat. He does have a way to influence, but it has worked out quite well for Tier 1 in Peru.
Look, all over the world, taxes are going up, and resource companies certainly going to have higher taxes. But on the other hand, if we have higher metal prices, then the higher taxes really don't factor into the equation that greatly. And, it's basically continue mission. And political scares are constant. And that's just one of those externalities that you have to get used to, particularly in the resource sector where these threats can be much more meaningful than for the average Joe in your 9-to-5 job. When is the market going to figure out the value that lies beneath the ground here in Tier 1, Peter?
Well, I think they have, to be honest. I mean, we're just at our, and I agree with all your comments there on the political nature of things. And again, we're an exploration company, so we don't have to worry too much about royalties and taxes, more towards just the openness to allow us to do what we got to do. And then getting back to when's the market going to understand the value? Well, we've done a pretty good job of setting the table, and people know of Curibaya. They know the potential that it has, and the eyes that we have on us from other companies is really intriguing as well. This isn't a flash in the pan. People see that we could possibly have found the first precious metal system on this prolific copper, porphyry belt in southern Peru, and that's a huge deal. So I think when we get those deep intercepts that we've been waiting for, and when those come to market, the company's going to have a total reset in valuation, and it'll show it in the market. And I think macroeconomically speaking, my former, investment advisor blood in me shows that, we're starting to see some cracks in the big tech, and some of that money might start flowing out and looking for sectors that are in good financial position with this massive wave in commodity spikes that we've seen happen to, met coal, uranium, natural gas, oil. Oil was negative dollars not too long ago, right? And all of a sudden it's ripping through $80 a barrel. So silver is going to happen. It has a tremendous use case. It's not just a speculative store against inflation or anything. It's much like copper. It's needed to make everything happen that all these politicians have promised to happen. So as we're speaking right now, demand is far outstripping supply. And don't get me started on the paper derivatives market. That's a whole other headache. But
we don't need to go there. But
sure lends a cause to us for sure.
But exactly for the reasons you've outlined, that's why I am a shareholder in Tier 1, because projects of these scale especially in today's world where the bigger finds are getting harder and harder to find, really Tier 1 makes a pretty interesting case. And really your like uninterrupted drive to accomplish these goals is pretty amazing. I always say, I want to be behind people who are winners in the usual course of business, not by exception. I want them to be regular winners, not they accidentally succeed once or twice. And certainly the team at Tier 1 fills the bill.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And again, I'm the last one to jump on this rocket ship, right? The infrastructure that I walked into and the leadership that I walked into was incredible. So being able to fill this seat is truly an honor for myself. And so, yeah, again, we're aggressive. We're going for it. It sure feels like we're expediting a discovery here. Everything is going 100 miles an hour. We're doing everything we can to make sure our messaging and the data gets out to shareholders. And we're going to continue going at that pace because that's what everybody deserves, all of our supporters.
Absolutely. And we've seen that you've been increasing your land package dramatically over time, which is always something I look at because there's only one reason you're increasing your land package, right?
That's it. I mean, we in terms of Curibaya, we just everywhere we go, it gets better. And I can flash back to early August when I had the chance to go down to camp at Curibaya, and the geologists were just coming in from this area in the north that they hadn't quite named yet, but they were freaking out. The grades that they were seeing, they were just saying, "Peter, we can't believe it. Like the north, this is amazing. We've later named it Cambaya, and the results are coming in, and they sure are proving to be right." So again, that's blue sky territory. That is planning for March of next year. Meanwhile, we are laser focused on the drill results coming back in, getting the data back in, and compiling it all and getting it out to shareholders as soon as possible because they deserve to know.
Well, that's great news, Peter. Really appreciate you coming on. Hey, for all of you out there listening, watching, go over to tier1silver.com, sign up for notifications so you will get the latest on drill results as they hopefully will come in very soon. And of course, the ticker symbols on the OTCQB, TSLVF, and on the TSX Venture, TSLV. Peter, we'll talk to you again soon, and hopefully more good news will be forthcoming.
Thanks, Kerry.
The Financial Survival Network.